Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a cautionary tale to the followers of rising star pianist Yunchan Lim. Let us call them the Limmings or Lemmings, because it kind of works. You've got to have a name for yourselves if you're going to be a fan, because all pop stars have names, like Justin Bieber's fans are Beliebers, and, Ariana Grande's fans are, Grandnicks, or who knows. Anyway, so you might as well be the Lemmings or Limmings, whatever you want to call it. It works either way, I think, actually. It's really very convenient. Limmings. I like it. I like it very much. Here's the deal. And I know that this is going to be a completely futile waste of time for those who have already drunk the Kool-Aid. But I think this is a point worth making about the careers of these folks. And, when we're getting in at the beginning, and it is just the beginning, as some of you pointed out in the comments, amidst the hysteria and vitriol of those who insist that his Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto must necessarily be the greatest recording ever in the history of the universe, or if not, it's really the one he did in Boston, which is even better. Look, folks, we have been here many times before. It is the same old story, and it's the same old story with this particular work, which I find particularly interesting. And I want to share with you a story, a very, very interesting story about how history repeats itself. So once upon a time, listen to Uncle Davy now. Here we go. I'm going to read something to you. This is an article from Wikipedia, actually, because it tells the story with the appropriate hagiographic aura. And I think that's what we're really trying to get at here. So once upon a time, in 1969, there was born a Greek classical pianist named Dimitris Sgoros. I remember him vividly, crazy vividly. The excitement, oh my God, it was incredible. Sgoros is a former child prodigy. He's 55 now, and is considered a leading concert pianist. Yeah, where? That's an interesting question. Arthur Rubinstein said his performance, they don't say of what, was, quote, the best playing I have ever heard, unquote. I mean, Sgoros has Arthur Rubinstein, saying that. Lim has Marin Alsop. So who are you going to believe, right? Come on. So let's do the biography. Dimitris Sgoros is an Aromanian who said, quote, I am Vlach with a capital V, unquote. I have no idea what all this stuff means. Vlach being the common name for Aromanians in Greece. Sgoros is the son of Sotirios and Marianthi Sgoros. There was no notable record of musical talent in his family. He began playing the piano when he was 6 years old and gave his first public performance a year later. At the age of 8, he entered the Athens Conservatoire, studying under Maria Georgiou, it looks like, Sigara. Sgoros won several competitions, between 1978 and 1983, including the UNICEF competition in Bulgaria, 1979, a competition in Ancona, Italy, 1980, and 2 competitions in his home city of Athens. Well, we all know what's going on there. He was also the recipient of the 1982 Leonardo da Vinci International Award. Whoa, baby. I never got a Da Vinci Award. I'm terribly jealous. I really am. In 1982, at the age of 12, ready for this? Sgoros made his Carnegie Hall debut. He performed Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 3 with the National Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Mstislav Rostropovich. Well, come on. What's more prestigious, doing the Rock 3 when you're 12 at Carnegie Hall under Rostropovich, or doing the Rock 3 at Fort Worth in the Clyburn under Alsop? Really, folks, I mean, get your priorities in gear. In mid-1983, before he had turned 13, Sgoros graduated from the conservatory with a professor's diploma, teacher's diploma, first prize, and gold medal, despite which he could still be seen cutting lawns in the Athens suburbs to earn extra money during the summer. Now, I added that, sorry. Sgoros continued his studies at the Royal Academy of Music in London and the University of Maryland, College Park, in the United States of America. He graduated from the Royal Academy with the highest marks the institution had ever awarded. Okay, I don't know what that means. Besides his musical talents, Sgoros has undertaken postgraduate studies in mathematics at the University of Oxford. Probably a good idea. It's always nice to have a day job. Performances around the world have included concerts in Australia, Austria, Bulgaria, China, Cyprus, France, Germany, Hong Kong, Israel, Italy, Japan, Korea, New Zealand, Romania, Russia, South Africa, Spain, and Turkey. Sgoros has performed for the royal families of Britain, Monaco, and Sweden, and played under the baton of renowned conductors such as Herbert von Karajan, Leonard Bernstein, Emil Tabakov, Kurt Mazur, and Yevgeny Svetlanov. Are you getting the fact that this may be a little dated as an entry since all of those people are dead? Very dead. I don't know, is Tabakov still with us? I have no idea. He has recorded for various record labels, including Dino Music and EMI. He did make a couple records for EMI, including Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto with the Berlin Philharmonic under Yuri Simonov. I wonder if you folks remember that. Since March 1988, 3 Sgoros festivals have been instituted in Hamburg, Ljubljana, and Singapore. Sgoros has featured prominently in the media, having appeared on NBC's The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, that was a while ago, and a television concert with Chopin's First Piano Concerto. He has also been profiled by Oscar-winning director Francois Reichenbach in a feature-length documentary film. That's his Wikipedia entry. I had a look at his website. It hasn't been updated since 2017, roughly, or at least looking at his recordings. That's the latest one. They're not on major labels anymore. He has a private label or something like that. So there is somebody who I think is worth mentioning. Everybody was abuzz about. The world was abuzz. They were buzzing. And he didn't even have a cool nickname for his followers. What are you going to call Sgorosians or Sgorosniks or Vlachians or Armenomians or whatever he thinks he is? He was a thing. He had his 15 minutes of fame. Who else has had their 15 minutes of fame with the Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto? David Helfgott, remember him? He had the advantage of being something of an idiot savant. I mean, that was his thing. He was a special needs person who was autistic, and he played the Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto. His recording of it on RCA sold billions of copies. Really, many, many more than Yunchan Lim's will, although they'll, with streaming media and all that stuff, who knows? You can't really make direct comparisons. But whatever happened to him? I mean, apparently he's still around somewhere. Who knows? And let's talk about somebody who's actually had a career, a real career. Yevgeny Kissin. Kissin was the prodigy to end all prodigies. He was Russian, first of all, playing Russian music and Liszt, and he also, I remember meeting him very, 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 very briefly. He used to run around with this coterie of his mother, his grandmother, his aunt. I mean, these black-clad Russian women looking very grim and strange. And he, he's also somebody, by the way, who has perceptual issues. And I'm not saying this to, try and denigrate them at all or say anything like that, but just that the prodigy phenomenon is a very strange one. And a lot of these young people don't make it. They don't make it to have great careers. And the one thing that I think is possibly most harmful to them, in the bubble in which they're going to live, which is also a sad thing, quite frankly, because after this they have no lives. They are entirely the slaves to their art, theoretically, And the opportunities for artistic growth, which come from being challenged, from the ability to absorb constructive criticism, the ability to listen comparatively, to be intellectually alert to what's going on, those are very, very limited in the world of the arts once you become famous. Because there will be a group of folks hovering around who believe that you can do no harm, that you can do nothing bad. In fact, that everything that you do is fabulous. Those are the lemmings, or limmings, as we call them. And if you are a lemming, let me just tell you straight off that the worst thing that you can do is be a lemming. If you care about music, if you care about your artist, you will be informed about great performances of the works in question. You will know when your artist is doing well and when your artist is doing less well, and you will respond accordingly, giving your hero, heroine, whatever, the opportunity for artistic growth. Because being surrounded by a group of yay-sayers and everything that you do is the kiss of death. It really is. I mean, for an artistic career, for the opportunity to really become something great, to have a life. I mean, forget about you people who have no lives. I mean, the artist has to have a life as well. They have to have a fund of human experience, a richness of worldly things happening around, so that they can process all of that and reproduce it in terms of the art that they interpret for the rest of us. And I just, reading some of the comments that I got, and I knew I was going to get them. It's like poking an anthill with a stick, and it's fun to do. I don't expect anything better from the Lemmings or Limmings. You get the usual stuff. But I just want to point out to you folks, if you see this video, we've been there before. We've seen it all before. It's happened before. This guy is just getting started. He is enormously talented, but so is Dimitris Sgoros, so is David Helfgott, so is Yevgeny Kissin. They're all talented. And it's very, very interesting that they all, almost all of them anyway. I don't remember Kissin actually he did Prokofiev's Third, I think was his breakthrough work. But, the Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto, which he did eventually, the Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto seems to be the as you can see from this Sgoros story and David Helfgott and these other folks, it is the work of choice for a lot of these breakthrough things. Why? Because it's big, it's symphonic, it's supposed to be somehow a little bit more intellectually deep while also being technically challenging, unlike like the Grieg or the Schumann concertos, which people these days can toss off. But from an audience point of view, Rachmaninoff is music for morons. It really is. I mean, it's a shame. It's not fair to Rachmaninoff, but it's music which it can be enjoyed on the surface immediately, and which has very, very pretty tunes that everybody just swoons over, and which the people who follow it like to flatter themselves with being, repositories of spontaneity and romantic passion. And it's really kind of repulsive, frankly. I mean, the way that the music is perceived and the way that it gets treated. The truth of the matter is that there are many superb, as I pointed out in the original video, recordings of Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto. And I strongly doubt that most of the people who are, having the vapors over Mr. Lim's Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto in Fort Worth are spending much time comparing that version to the other great ones, or are willing to even bother, to even consider the possibility. I know there are some people who said, yes, I love the work. I've had 500 performances of it, and this is the greatest I've ever heard. That's true too. There are always people who need that ability to latch on to something live and be part of a bigger movement and whatnot. And I'm not denying anybody their right to enjoy what they enjoy, to love what they love, to love Lim love Lim, love Lim all you like. That's just terrific. I think he's an enormously talented artist. And I look forward to seeing what happens to him. But he's going to be exploited. He's going to be promoted. He's going to be pushed like all of these artists are. And if you are falling for the puffery that surrounds him, then quite frankly, you're an unmusical fool. And so I'm just letting you know that. You deserve contempt. And so I'll be more than happy to supply it as we go. Because what really deserves your attention is the music, the work, not the artist. Artists are great folks. I mean, we wouldn't have the music without them. But Lim has to have the opportunity to prove himself worthy of being considered one of the great musicians before us today. And he hasn't done that yet. He doesn't do it with this Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto, whether here or in Boston. His Liszt Transcendental Etudes were fabulous. I mean, oh my God, they were wonderful. I mean, he's got the ability. He's got the ability. But whether or not he fulfills that promise is going to depend on a great many external factors. And the mindless Lemming-like fandom and adulation that he will receive is not one of them. I'm telling you now. So maybe in 30 or 40 years, we can go back and check out this video and see where Lim is and what kind of a career he has. And we'll know whether he's become one of the great stars, keyboard masters of all time, or like Dimitris Sgoros, he's somebody whose Wikipedia page says that he's still active at the age of 55, only none of us know precisely where or can remember the last time we heard anything about him. That's going to be the result, one or the other. Or maybe like Kissin, he'll have a good, solid career as one of a number of very fine pianists active on the international concert scene. These are the possibilities. And we need to be smart about who we get behind and where we fling down the gauntlet. It's way too soon to tell where this one's going to go. I'm very interested in seeing where it's going to go. And I can promise you that I will be more than happy to evaluate his recordings with the same objectivity and fairness that I did his Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto and all of the recordings of these up-and-coming young'uns who are banging at the door of immortality. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.